So I just picked up these Boyamic wireless microphones, and I wanted to let you guys know if these are a good, more budget option to consider for getting some wireless audio for your videos. So first of all, because I'm sure a lot of you are wondering this, I bought these mics 100% with my own money. Boya did not send me these microphones to review or anything like that, though, you know, I probably wouldn't have said no if they'd offered. But I spent about $135 of my own dollars on these because I was shopping for some wireless mics to level up the audio on a big film I'm going to be shooting this fall on an overlanding trip out in Wyoming. But I was looking for something a little bit less expensive than Rode or DJI's wireless mic system. And it's tough because there's so many knockoff wireless mic systems out there, and you never know if you're getting something that could be pretty good or could just be garbage. So quick overview, it's a pretty standard issue 2 microphone setup. So you have 2 microphone units and 1 receiver, and all the devices fit into this little charging case, which is real convenient. So on the mics themselves are a couple of buttons. So here at the top you have your power button, and here is a noise reduction button. More on that in just a minute. And then here is the record button. So these microphones actually have onboard recording. So you can hit this button and record a .wav file directly to the microphone unit, which is a pretty cool feature and something that's typically not found on the cheaper wireless mic systems. This is a big reason that I went with these microphones instead of some of the other ones available, and you can use this as a completely independent recorder, although kind of the intent of this feature is to have more of a backup recording to your transmission to your camera. Also included in the kit are 2 of the little furries, the dead cats, and these are a little bit difficult to figure out how to install at first. Until you kind of figure it out, you just got to line up the grooves on here and then put it on here and push and twist. There you go. And on the back of the mic units, we have a clip, so you can clip this on your shirt lapel or whatever, and we also have a magnet, which is actually really pretty strong. So you can put this magnet inside your shirt and then the microphone on the outside and clip it on, which is what I'm doing right now. All the settings for these microphones you adjust from the receiver unit, which is going to be mounted on your camera or on your phone or whatever you're taking videos with. It is not a touch screen, but it has a pretty intuitive interface. It is a single button menu system, so you tap the menu button, 1 quick press to cycle through the menu options, then to adjust something in that menu setting, you long press and hold the menu button, and then it highlights the setting to change, and you can tap it quickly to cycle through. So it's pretty simple to pick up and learn. And you can change all your settings in here, going from mono to stereo and things like that. So you do have the ability to have it a mono recording, so both microphones get condensed into 1 signal equal on the right and left channels, or you can have it in stereo so that each channel is recording each microphone separately. If you're only using 1 mic, like I am most of the time, mono is perfectly fine to leave it on. One feature that Boya advertises is the noise reduction feature, which isn't really something I plan on using a whole lot, but I did want to test it out, and I had the perfect opportunity when I was on a business trip this month. Alright, something that I would consider a fairly challenging noise environment at an airport. This is without noise reduction turned on, and here in a second I'm going to turn the noise reduction on and see how much difference it makes. This is no noise reduction, and this is with noise reduction turned on. I think this might be useful for video call scenarios. I'm on a phone right now, so it's a good example. So that was an interesting test. I didn't feel like it was super conclusive because I was a little too hesitant and timid in the airport to be talking at a full volume voice. But I'm back home here, and I've got a vacuum going over here. Dad's doing something in the truck. So let's try out noise reduction now. This is no noise reduction. Here I'm gonna hit the button. This is noise reduction turned on. All right, hear any difference? How does it sound if I'm talking here? Got the vacuum going right over there. So I don't know, it's a cool feature to have. I'm hesitant to bake in things like that into the audio file. I'd rather do that in post, honestly, because it introduces some kind of artifacts and stuff, which, don't get me wrong, it does a pretty good job, it seems like, of eliminating noise. I just kind of would prefer to do that with a plugin in post, voice isolation in DaVinci Resolve, so that I have an unaltered, unartifacty audio file if I need it. That's sort of my opinion on that, but I think it does seem really useful for things like live applications like video calls or live streams, things like that, where you don't have the ability to do anything in post. So a pretty typical problem area that I run into, because I film a lot of stuff in vehicles, is when it comes to microphones, a lot of times we'll get a lot of low-end rumble in the vehicle, especially with the AC going, road noise, all that stuff. You get a lot of low frequencies that can mess up your recording. So this microphone advertises it has a high-pass filter, which should help cut out some of that stuff like traffic noise and wind and things like that that are in the low frequencies. So this is what it sounds like with the high pass filter off. And then here's what it sounds like with the high pass filter, actually they call it a low cut filter, turned on the 75 hertz setting. And then here we have the 150 hertz setting. And this is something you could do in EQ in post-production as well, but it's kind of nice to have that setting on the microphone. Probably the greatest thing about a wireless mic system is you can get further away from the camera. Compared to a shotgun mic, you have to be within like 5 to 10 feet at the max to get good audio from the camera. I got cars driving by here, I got crickets chirping, cicadas chirping in the trees, water kind of gently lapping over here, and you can hear me okay because I have a mic that's on me. So kind of a big duh situation, but also kind of eye-opening for me because I've never used a wireless mic before. So these mics really deploy pretty quickly. Just pop open the case, pull out the microphone and the receiver, plug it right in, and it's really pretty straightforward and easy to get up and going, which is good because if you have a nice wireless mic but it's too inconvenient to use it, it's kind of pointless. So one thing that bugs me about this kit is that not everything you need to record video, at least on a camera, can fit in the little charging case. The two microphones and the receiver do fit in here, and also I was able to squeeze in one of the dead cats. It won't close with the dead cats on the mics though, which is a little bit annoying. But most importantly, the cord that connects to the camera won't fit in here. There's no way. So that has to be sitting loose in your bag somewhere. Easier to lose, that kind of thing, so it's a little bit frustrating. I will say though, if you're recording on a phone or a laptop, something like that, the USB-C and Lightning plugs do fit in the case here, so it's all self-contained if that's what you're using it for. Not a huge deal, just something I find a little bit frustrating. Another feature of these microphones is on the receiver itself, there is a headphone jack, so you can monitor live audio that's being recorded. This is something that a lot of YouTubers or vloggers probably aren't gonna make use of a whole lot, but if you're doing some more professional work, maybe doing some kind of interview, something where you're kind of setting up a shot, you know, it's a nice feature to have, especially if your camera you're recording on doesn't have a headphone jack. My Lumix S5 II does, so that's probably what I would use. But my old camera, my Lumix G85, doesn't have a headphone output, so, you know, it could come in handy. So the onboard microphones on these Boyamic wireless units are pretty great. I mean, that's what you've been hearing throughout this video. But they do have a line in, which is kind of nice. You can plug in something along the lines of an external lavalier. And actually they include two lavalier mics in the box. Now I'm assuming these are probably pretty cheap lavaliers because they're just kind of bonuses. I'm sure we're not talking about something too premium, but that's what you're hearing right now is the lavalier audio. And I mean, it's totally usable. So battery life is a pretty important feature with a wireless microphone. Obviously, you know, it's going to determine how long you can stay out shooting without needing to recharge. The transmitters, the microphone unit here has a battery life of about 10 hours. It's only 6 hours if you are using the internal recording feature. And then the charging case, which is also the carrying case that everything fits into, has enough capacity to charge up the full package. So 2 transmitters and the receiver, a little more than 1 complete charge. So if you're a solo creator like me and not using the second transmitter most of the time, the charging case is enough to give you a couple of charge cycles. Pretty much what I've done is just use the mics freely and put them back in the charging case when I'm done. And as I see the lights on the charging case starting to get low, I just go ahead and plug it in and charge it up, and it takes about 2.5 hours to get a full charge on the charging case. So battery life hasn't really been much of a concern at all for me with these. Of course, no microphone testing video would be complete without the all-important range test. Notwithstanding the fact that it's not exactly a very realistic application. I mean, not very many of us are intentionally setting up our camera and then walking 400 feet away and trying to talk to it. More so, I guess the range is just an indication of how reliable your connection to your camera is going to be, even if you're not actually 500 feet away from it. But Boya advertises that these microphones have a 300-meter range, which is like 1,000 feet almost. I don't have 1,000 feet worth of space here to test it, but what I do have is 2 cones. One is at 100 feet, and the other is at about 100 yards, so about 300 feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and start walking. I'm gonna have my back turned, but I am gonna turn around and face the camera periodically. I'm expecting there to be some breakup when my back is turned away, but when the mic regains line of sight to the camera, I think it should pick up and reconnect, so I'm gonna test out and see how well it does that as well. So let's get started. I'm gonna be talking continuously, which is actually something I'm really good at, turns out. So I'm talking here and walking away. I'm about halfway to the first cone, so I don't know, about 15 yards away. I'm gonna turn around, talk to the camera because it's a beautiful day. It's like 80 degrees out here, a little bit of cloud cover, which is really nice. You know, look at that all the time. I'm on a baseball diamond, which is, you know, I never played baseball actually. I'm here 30 yards away. I'm guessing still have good connection. That's my hope anyway. Oh, I'm also going to, while I'm here, go ahead and turn on the local recording, just so that if there is any breakup and I say something brilliant, it won't be lost forever. So walking along here, it's really matters. Turning around once again, back line of sight to the camera. I'm continuing to talk, continuing to walk. This field is recently mown, which is very nice. Love to see that. You know, city doing a good job keeping the parks updated and you know, maintained. But anyway, I'm here about 100 yards away from the camera. There's no way I would ever do this on purpose, really. Like, I'm not gonna set up a talking head from 100 yards away. I'm gonna start walking back here, being efficient, bringing the cones with. So I wasn't blown away by the range test. I would have hoped for a little more consistent connection, you know, whether my back was turned or not, within that 30-foot radius to the receiver or so. But as long as you did maintain line of sight to the receiver, it really had no issues at all. But this is why local recording is such a huge feature, because you just turn that on and you don't have to worry about any of this. I mean, I thought I was good at talking continuously, but actually maybe not so much. Anyway, continuing to talk, continuing to walk. I mean, I thought I was good at talking continuously, but actually maybe not so much. Anyway, continuing to talk, continuing to walk. Here's another range test example here. I'm just kind of walking about, I don't know, 60 feet away from the camera with some trees coming between me and the receiver, and I kind of wanted to see if just having that amount of obstruction would cause breakup to happen with the microphone here. I'm keeping it a tree between me and the camera, or if it was only when I'd actually turn my back. So if I turn my back here, you're probably not able to hear me, but if I turn back around here and just have a tree between me and the camera, are you able to hear me? I'm guessing that probably works fine. That's more of a everyday real life application, not having my back turned 100 feet from the camera. It seems like the connection is pretty consistent on the whole. I really haven't had any breakup issues except for in that one long range test. So yes, I know what you're thinking, because I was thinking it too. These look like pretty much a direct copy of what DJI has going on with their mic system. The form factor obviously is very similar. These have internal local recording just like the DJI does, and even the carrying case that it comes with is you know, a very close match to what DJI has going on. So it's pretty clear what we're trying to accomplish here, but it's also very typical for any other mid-range brand to kind of copy the industry standard. So you see a ton of mics out there in the Rode Wireless Go sort of format, and now in the DJI mic format. But it seemed like it was worth it to give these mics a try, because they're like $100 cheaper than DJI's original mic and $150 cheaper than the Mic 2 that's out now. And they pretty much have the same feature set, at least on paper, all the things that were really important to me, which was primarily local recording, having the ability to record on board, so even if your transmission signal wasn't that great, you would still have a good recording. And Boya isn't like the cheapest of cheap brands. It's an Amazon brand, don't get me wrong, but I had heard of them before. It seems like they have sort of a reputation in the audio space. Where I run across them before actually was when I was trying to figure out how to add external audio to my DJI Action 3, and Boya makes a product that ended up saving my bacon. If you want to watch that video and see the whole saga I went through of trying to get an external mic hooked up to my Action 3, you can check that video out here. But anyway, I had heard of the brand before, so I felt like it was worth taking a chance and trying these out. And so far, I have been very happy with these. They're getting the job done for me. I'm not like an audio expert to be able to know all the ins and outs of like the technical aspects of sound quality and things like that, but they seem like they're pretty good quality. If you guys want to check these mics out, I'll leave the affiliate link in the description below, which helps support my channel a little bit. I make about a 4% commission if you buy through that link, so feel free to do that if you so choose. And comment below if you want to see me compare these mics to the DJI mic system, because I might be able to make that happen. I'll see you guys next time.